Taiwan. I'm Brossard with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. From Taipei to Beijing, where Nauru and China have formally re-established ties. The Pacific Island nation broke off ties with Taiwan last week, saying that it recognizes Beijing as the sole legitimate government of China. At the signing ceremony, Nauru's foreign minister restated Beijing's position on Taiwan, saying it is an inalienable part of China's territory. China can't carry out an amphibious invasion of Taiwan, but it is more than capable of blockading the country. That's the assessment of most Taiwanese and U.S. security experts. They took part in a new survey by China Power Project at CSIS and the Institute for National Defense and Security Research here in Taiwan. A total of 87 Taiwan and U.S. experts were interviewed. The majority believe a Taiwan Strait crisis is likely in 2024. They define a crisis as a situation similar to the large-scale exercises conducted by China in 1995. The survey also showed that more than half of respondents think China wouldn't wait for President-elect Lai Ching-te to take office before conducting large-scale exercises. There was debate, however, on whether those drills would take place before or after May. For more on the survey, Jaime Ocon spoke to Brian Hart of the China Power Project.
Brian, I wanted to first start with your opinion on what are the biggest takeaways from this report that you conducted with both U.S. and Taiwanese experts.
I think one of the big takeaways is, China has different options in terms of what it can do to pressure, coerce Taiwan, and, to force unification too, if that's what it deems what it wants to do. I think, so a lot of the discourse here in Washington often revolves around an invasion. And so one of the things that I think came out of this survey is that, in the next couple of years, a blockade or a quarantine is more likely than an invasion. At least that's what these experts largely saw as the case. I think that's got a lot to do with the capabilities that China has at its disposal. I think our experts largely viewed a quarantine and a blockade as being more feasible than an invasion. But I think another big takeaway from this survey is there are significant differences in views among scholars from the U.S. and Taiwan about, what exactly the threat looks like from China. I think the Taiwan scholars in the survey tended across pretty much all questions to view China as being slightly less capable in terms of its military capabilities.
Another section of this report talks about how long Taiwan could last if China were to blockade the main island with limited or maybe no U.S. intervention. Did anything shock you from these findings?
I think one of the things maybe that was surprising was how much, this was one of the questions where there was actually quite a lot of similarities between the U.S. and Taiwan views on this question. So there were very different, thoughts, but I think largely the views coalesced around Taiwan probably being able to wait out about 3 months. That there's a big spectrum, but few people thought Taiwan would be able to last more than, say, 6 months or a year. It was much more focused in that what we kind of put as a medium range of around maybe a month, 1 to 3 months, or 3 to 6 months. So somewhere in there is about where most people saw that being. So in our survey, we used the word quarantine to describe a law enforcement-led scenario in which China uses not the military, but law enforcement and civilian, or at least quasi-civilian organizations like the China Coast Guard to block traffic to and from Taiwan, to shut off trade. Whereas a blockade is with the PLA, the Chinese military, leading those operations. So there's a significant difference in terms of escalations and what Beijing is willing to put out there in the Taiwan Strait.
Now, given these findings, what do you think policymakers here in Taiwan should do to reflect the findings that are in this report and maybe apply that to their actual military strategy?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I think it's one that there's a lot of divided views on. In my perspective, one of the things that this survey highlights is that we certainly can't rule out the option of China pursuing a blockade, and so the kinds of forces that you need to run a blockade or defend against a blockade are really different from the kinds of forces that you would use to repel or stop an invasion. So I think Taiwan does need to take those threats of a blockade seriously, and that also means taking a lot of non-military responses as well, and thinking about energy security, food security, and how Taiwan can make itself more resilient to a scenario like a blockade.
That was Brian Hart of the China Power Project speaking to our reporter Jaime Ocon. Taiwan's military has launched the country's largest exercises to take place before the Lunar New Year in February. The 4-day drills opened in the southern county of Pingtung on Tuesday night. Over the next few days, the military will test several weapon systems, including fighter jets, attack helicopters, and anti-tank missiles. Taiwan frequently holds exercises because Beijing sees the country as part of its territory and has threatened to take it by force. 95% of workers in Taiwan say they would like to change their job after the Lunar New Year. As Leslie Liao explains, the holiday is a pivotal time for employees to move on to new pastures.
Lunar New Year is around the corner. It's Taiwan's biggest holiday season, and it's a time for celebration, family, and money. Around this time, employers give their staff 年终奖金, cash bonuses to thank them for the year of hard work. Many employees thinking about changing jobs often wait until after the Lunar New Year to take the leap. That's because they want to hold out for their bonus before they jump ship. This is why analysts look to the holiday to better understand just how many people in Taiwan want to change jobs. This year, a survey from a job listing website found an astounding 95% of Taiwanese workers want to change work after the Lunar New Year. It also found 74% have already begun their search. Where do they want to go? The most popular industries are hospitality, tech, and wholesale.
去年的大概12月底到目前1月份来讲的话，投履历的案件数确实有比之前来的多1到2成左右。
The Economy Ministry says the wholesale industry has thrived in recent years, and analysts say the hospitality sector is offering more competitive packages as it faces a labor shortage. Taiwan's tech industry, on the other hand, has a reputation for high-paying jobs. With so many people thinking about switching jobs, this might be a wake-up call for Taiwan's employers to think about how to keep their workers, or else look to the employment merry-go-round. Patrick Sun and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Sea urchins are a delicacy in Taiwan, but as Laurel Stewart reports, farmers are having to find new ways to expand the industry as climate change threatens their habitats.
Small, spherical and spindly. These sea urchins are being farmed in Taidong County on Taiwan's eastern coast. They usually grow on rocks on the seafloor off Taiwan's Penghu Island, and they're considered quite the delicacy. But overfishing, rising temperatures and passing typhoons have killed populations and disrupted the domestic sea urchin market. Now, this indoor farming experiment run by Taiwan's Agriculture Ministry could be a solution. It's providing a safe place for the creatures to thrive.
一方面提供稳定的水温，还有这些稳定的食物给它。那另外一方面呢，也可以降低外面所带来的这些污染。
One basket here can grow about 10 sea urchins. They cling to the gaps in the basket and can safely feed on seaweed. Farmers are trying to be as energy and space efficient as possible, using solar panels to provide shade as well as generate the electricity needed to run the tanks.
这样子的环境之下，它的单位面积是受到限制的，所以我们必须要去想办法去增加它单位面积之内它可以获得的效益。
Any excess electricity generated is sold to Taiwan's state power company, helping boost farmers' incomes. This style of farming is expected to provide ample supply for Taiwan's sea urchin market, and farmers say they'll next move on to cultivate other marine animals. It's a low-cost and energy-efficient model that could help the country expand its fisheries. Alex Chen and Laurel Stewart for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, check out this footage of people showing their devotion to the Hindu religion with tattoos of the name of the god Ram. I'm Philip Brossard, take care, and we'll see you next time.